Hello guys, welcome to a brand new video on the channel. We're going to talk about the entire F1 2018 season. What's our highlights, what's our low points of the season, get a bit of a rating for each driver. I hope you like it. Smash that like button, subscribe, and please share the video. Come on, let's see if we can get this channel up to about 100 subs by the end of, let's say, June. Come on. I believe in you guys. And how are you, Gerard?
Yeah, I'm good. This video is more about our perspective of how we felt the 2018 F1 season went. So if
Yeah,
you have any disagreements, leave it down in the comments. Just let us know how you feel about what we said.
yeah. Just to be clear, we're not always gonna be in a neutral point of view because we have our preferences with certain drivers. Like for example, I prefer Hulkenberg. He is my favorite driver over Magnussen. I don't like Magnussen at all. And it's
Yeah, and
the
then on
yeah.
on my point, I prefer Daniel Ricciardo to per se Max Verstappen, which is just a petulant child, but whatever.
Yeah, let's just leave it at that point. First of all, let's start with Mercedes, world champions again, fifth year in a row, if I'm
Un
not mistaken.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but Ferrari did take a bit of a
Yeah,
fight to them
they gave them a good.
In the first half.
Yeah, I just think they were let down by strategy and just wanted a little too much.
Yeah, and I have to say, I don't know, I don't like Lewis that much, but for a guy that really didn't have the best car in the first half of the season, he really kept it with Sebastian.
He did, but let's be honest, he had a lot of help from his teammate, the pit.
Yeah,
So I mean,
yeah. I think Bottas could have won one or two races. If we
most
look at
definitely.
China, if it wasn't for his bad strategy from Mercedes, I think he would have won that race and not Daniel. But the, to be fair, Daniel did have a good race there. But
Yeah,
not to
that was
dwell
all
off the
down
point.
to a safety car help. But yes, let's stay on the point.
Yeah, let's stay on the point here. Your personal point of view of the entire Mercedes season, yeah,
I
that
just
bad?
think it's another Mercedes season. I don't feel any special. We had a bit of a Ferrari teaser in 2017, when
Yeah,
Ferrari was it was the first time another team has led the world championship other than Mercedes this era, in the
yeah,
hybrid era, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, yes, it was nice to see the fight yet again, but just it's just such a letdown when we get to the end of the season.
yeah. And to me, what made it for Mercedes was their I don't know if you can recall at the end of the season they had some new um, on the they developed something on the rear wheels which keep them very cool compared to other cars.
Oh yeah,
Um,
they had a big tire issue in the mid-season.
yeah, and they just somehow got it together and wow, did they improve. But
Yeah, they
do you,
just absolutely rocketed off.
and how did Mercedes outdevelop Ferrari at the end of the season? It's still baffling. I can't understand it.
I
Uh,
don't think they necessarily out-developed them. I just think Ferrari lacked a bit. Because they had a phenomenal car in the start of the season and just kind of left it there, focused
yeah,
on the wrong parts of the season.
yeah, that's true actually. And well, just another Mercedes here, to be honest.
Yeah, standard issue.
A lot of wins, a lot of podiums. Um,
Yeah.
one or two strategy mistakes and a few good calls, to be honest. I, I just think Mercedes weren't punished enough for doing stuff wrong this season. If we look at
That is a
Germany,
very, very good. Yeah, that's a very good point. I think Mercedes got off a little too easy on less than legal mistakes that they made.
yeah, if you look at Germany, for instance, when Hamilton drove over the grass in a race,
Yeah,
I think it was 2017 when I think
Kimi
Verline.
Räikkönen.
No. Raikkonen did it at the end of in Abu Dhabi in 2018. I think it was
No, that's true.
2017. I think it was Verline, and he just drove over. I think he entered after the cone, which is about the same as going onto the track
Yeah,
after
just
the cone.
yeah.
And he got a penalty for it. So I can't see the difference if the rule didn't change. It kept going on the
Yeah,
same.
if you're a world championship leader or contender or not, you still drive on the same track with the same rules that apply to everyone.
Yeah,
So I just think that's not fair in any case.
yeah,
You should have
and
definitely got a penalty for that.
yeah. I'm not gonna argue at all. There were a few other points that they didn't get the penalties needed. But yeah, I think for once the FIA has to think about not just the guys being title contenders, just think of the racing as a whole. You can't just go, okay, you have a 5-place grid penalty the next race for, let's say,
Yeah.
cutting the corner and gaining an advantage, and the next guy gains an advantage, and you're just like, nah, just keep it. He's a title contender.
Yeah, that's not fair.
And now, moving on to Hamilton, what do you think about his season as a general?
I don't know. I think he's been given the win ever since he joined Formula One, which it's a very bold statement to make, of course, but I don't think you can't be put in a championship winning car when you as your debut. It's just not fair. Hamilton started in a McLaren Mercedes, whereas let's take Sebastian Vettel's contender started in a Toro Rosso and was able to make big scenes from that. So I don't know. I think the driver has more to do with his car than. Like, don't get me wrong, he is a good driver, but I think he's been helped a lot by the car he's been in.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel the same way. If you look at most drivers on the grid today, if you look at Ricciardo started at Toro Rosso, Max Verstappen started at Toro Rosso, Kimi Räikkönen at Sauber a few years back, going back again. Most drivers started with a weaker car, per se, a midfield car, and
Yeah.
Hamilton just walked into a Mercedes, and somehow he's been able to keep his drive. Don't get me wrong, he had a great season actually. Being able to get a win in Germany somehow with the strategy also helped him, and the rain a bit. But there's been those few things that Hamilton's been doing right that Sebastian Vettel hasn't been. He's been, if you look at the stuff that Vettel's been doing, he's been spinning all season at points, and that's something that Hamilton hasn't done a lot. He knows how to do his wheel-to-wheel racing, and he knows when to back off.
Yeah.
But
He knows how to read the competition, whereas Vettel is someone that just kind of goes in head first, sees what happens.
yeah, that's true. But I still don't get it. How can you look at your teammate for this season, and you look at like Russia, and you just look at Valtteri and just go, yeah, you've been great. Actually, he's been he's been the better. He was the better driver on the day. Why can't you let him win?
Yeah.
But
I mean, the most ridiculous part. When was it? It was Hamilton was behind. I think it was Sochi in Russia.
Yeah, it
And
was.
Hamilton was in P2, and Valtteri was leading.
Yeah.
And yet again, Hamilton was leading the championship by X amount of points. He was quite far ahead of Vettel, and they still just let him by. I do not see the point in that. Let the man have something. Because I don't know if you have seen the news recently, but Valtteri Bottas lost his main sponsor
Yeah,
because of the season he's had.
yeah, and I saw that on the news, and I think that breaks a man as a person. How can you
As a person,
keep
as a
keep
driver,
motivated?
your PR, everything's just exactly. Just what do you do after that? You can't keep on being the pet for Mercedes.
Yeah, and I think it's only going to be a matter of time before Valtteri says, well, if you're going to keep me as a second driver, I'm just as well going to
Exactly.
step into a new car. And with the season he's had
'Cause-
in 2018, I don't think he's going to get another drive at any other team after this.
No, that's true. And as well, Valtteri's drive is coming to an end. Look at all the rookies coming in. George Russell will certainly be there, someone to take him over. And then Esteban Ocon, who has a slightly confirmed seat in 2020.
Yeah, and
So Valtteri's time in a World Championship winning car is coming to an end real quick.
yeah, and
Does he just want to be the pet for the final season, or what's he gonna do?
yeah, if I was Valtteri, I would look at the team and Lewis and just think, well, if this is going to be my last season, why not just take a big hit and
Just give
just
it
go
your
for
all.
it?
Yeah,
Just even if it means they're gonna try and fire you at the end of the season and
Yeah.
stuff, yeah, just go for it. Just don't stop. You can't be a pet. I just can't see how someone can have that much patience with the team.
yeah, it makes no sense. But then again, Ferrari isn't too innocent when it comes to this, but that's a conversation for another time.
Yeah, and as a whole, Hamilton, he had his drives. I think he was quite brilliant at some times, and Valtteri as well. But
Definitely.
I think Mercedes was a bit unfair in this whole season, keeping Lewis
Yeah, they
ahead.
were way too brutal.
Yeah, and your driver ratings for each one on how they did
If I
this
had
season.
to give, okay, so my rating for Hamilton would be a rather good one. He is the world champion, so
Okay.
I would probably give him like a 9.5 rating.
Yeah.
And then for Valtteri,
yeah,
I don't know. He has the potential, probably not to be a world champion, but he has the potential to win races and be with the team.
yeah,
So for Valtteri, I'll give him a 8.2.
yeah.
I think that's fair.
I'm gonna go on the same as you did with Lewis. I think he had a great season. Not too much
Yeah.
mistakes. And for Valtteri, I'm gonna go a bit lower, considering the fact that he ended 100 and I think it was 161 points behind Lewis. I think
Yeah.
I'm gonna give him a 7.3. I can't give him any higher. He's even though he could have,
7.3.
even though he did get bullied by the team, and
Yeah.
and I think he could have won one or two races. I just don't think he had he wasn't a contender this season like he was in 2017.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I'm
it's a
completely with
7.3.
that.
And
Okay.
moving on to second place in the constructors, Ferrari. What's your thoughts?
Oof, I mean, Sebastian Vettel he's an all-time great driver. He's probably our modern-day Michael Schumacher.
Yeah.
But just his eagerness to get ahead has let him down massively.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
he is... Yeah.
Sorry. Sorry. If you look at Vettel, he almost has the same driving style as Michael has. The
Oh,
way
very similar driving style.
the way they want to force people to go on a line that they don't really want to. But
Yeah.
if you look at the drivers, like if you look at USA when he was battling Daniel Ricciardo, Ricciardo just said, "No, mate, I'm not going off the track for you.
Yeah.
I'm staying on
Yeah.
my line," and he just tapped Daniel's rear end, and he was round and round and round. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. You can't do it against guys that are aggressive drivers. You can't do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna get punished.
Yeah,
But
you will be worse off.
yeah, that's true. And you need to know when to be aggressive. You need to know when to be conservative. You can't just go, screw this, I'm going on full guns blazing. You can't do that anymore in Formula One.
You know, I think a good example of this would be at Monza, where he was clearly not on the pace or the level that Hamilton was on when he was coming from the rear.
Yeah,
And just the dive he made was just so stupid. There was no need for it. He
Yeah.
put himself in a bad situation that just got so much worse.
yeah. And he was quite good at Monza that weekend. He wasn't
He
bad.
was. He was
If
definitely fast.
I think the only reason Kimi got the pole position at the end was the toe he was getting off Sebastian Vettel, if
that
you
was
remember.
definitely just the toe.
And
Yeah.
that means Sebastian did have the pace in the tank. I just think he was a bit hot-headed going into the whole race
Yeah.
and thinking, "No, we have to win in
Yeah.
front of the Tifosi." I just
Yeah.
can't. All the pressure just got to him, maybe, but he needs to
Yeah.
clear his head
I
at
think-
the end.
Yeah, I think the second half of the season, he wanted way too much than he could have.
Yeah.
After he lost the lead to Hamilton, pressure was just on. Because
Yeah.
everyone wants him to win. Everyone wants Ferrari to be back on the top step.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I think it was a little too much to ask of him.
Yeah, that's true. And if you look at where I think his whole season changed was at 2 points. One was in Germany, and the other point was
Yeah.
in Monza when he lost
Yeah.
his car against Hamilton, and he had to drive the wheels of that car just to get back into the points.
Yeah, I think the hardest one was probably Germany, just to lose in front of your home,
Yeah, but
to lose it all, leave it there.
saying that, if I don't know if you saw this on the live feed, when Vettel crashed into the barrier, for some reason you could just see the fans jump up in joy.
Yeah, but
and
I think
cheer.
that was the Verstappen side of the grandstands. I was definitely not some German fans. There was some Dutch fans. Someone
Yeah.
there didn't like him very much.
Yeah, that was a bit cruel, and his
Yeah.
voice almost started to break. If you remember, it sounded like he was crying
yeah.
inside the cockpit. But
I mean, I
think-
would have as well. I wouldn't be able to handle that.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, in front of your home fans, leading by what was it, 8 seconds, and just
Yeah.
throw it away.
Just lose it all. It's a
Yeah.
tough one to swallow.
Yeah, that's true. And what I saw this a bit about a few days ago. What do you think about the Arriva Bene situation that he's gone at Ferrari and
Ooh.
Binotto is coming?
With Binotto, I think it's a good decision, to be honest. Yes, the role model type chief, but I don't know. I think his time has come and gone. I think Binotto is a fresh start to the Ferrari team.
Yeah, but if you
It's
look at
definitely
it,
necessary.
Mercedes haven't changed their team since the start of the hybrid era, and now Ferrari, I think it's their second change in the hybrid era. They haven't been able to find a formation in their entire structure to
Yeah,
to
They
take
haven't
them.
been find. Yeah,
Uh,
they haven't been able to find their Jean Todt, the
Yeah, that's true. I
You,
think
you know what I mean?
the John Todt and Ross Brawn era at Ferrari in the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the best
Able
eras.
to find that combination,
Yeah,
which
but
was killer combination.
yeah, I think Ferrari as a whole team, they need to look at themselves. Too many mistakes on track, off track with the decision making. Um,
Yeah.
I think development, they need to start doing something throughout the entire season and not just focus on one half of the season. Because you can't just
Yeah.
make a car that will make you fast on certain tracks. You need to try and get a car that will make you fast on
Yeah, be as
most of them.
consistent as possible.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I just can't see Ferrari doing this next season if they can't do it, if they haven't been able to do it these last few seasons. I can't see them do it.
Talking about next season, just slightly, I think
Yeah,
next season's going to bring out a whole load of surprises.
yeah. I think
Lower
Sauber's gonna.
teams, just
I think Sauber's gonna
yeah,
get into the top five. Just put their heads in there again, and yeah, I think it's gonna be an awesome season. And moving back, what do you think about Vettel's season as a whole, the entire thing? Did you like what you saw, or do you think he could have
yeah.
done better?
Vettel was the wheel-to-wheel racing he got. I mean, Austria when he had his wheel-to-wheel with this. And
Yeah,
then also at, I think, Sochi, where they also had another scrap wheel mill. It was phenomenal. A great racing season to watch. But
yeah,
his season overall, he wanted too much. He was way too eager, not quite thinking. So if I had to give him a rating,
yeah.
I'd put at an 8.4, 8.5.
Yeah. Considering the fact that he only won 5 races and all 5 of them was in the first half of the season, because he didn't win any of his last 8 races.
Yeah. So, I mean, he definitely made way too many mistakes near the end.
Yeah, I think as a person, he just needs to step back a little, relax, just think, okay, do I really need to
Yeah.
do this? Is this going to be good for my race? Can I maybe get a third place this race, win the next one?
Yeah, he needs to think about the bigger picture, not just the, yes, I want to win, I want to get first place, give me the goal. He needs
Yeah.
to think about, yeah, give me maximum points I can receive.
Yeah,
And next year is going to be very interesting with him and Leclerc in the
Yeah.
same team, because Leclerc is no slouch.
yeah, I'm not going to lie. I think Leclerc is going to maybe be on his heels or just be ahead of Sebastian if Sebastian is on his best. I think Leclerc is on that level where he can contend for the championship.
Oh yeah, definitely. He put a Sauber car where it shouldn't have been, and it was just pure driving skill.
Yeah,
So he will definitely be a threat for the top.
and moving to Raikkonen, just to break you off a bit there, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, Raikkonen's in the same boat as Bottas. Yes, he had his win in USA, but he played the back marker, the sheep for the team.
Yeah,
So I mean, yeah, he should probably be around the same level as Bottas. I just think Bottas had a better overall than Raikkonen. Raikkonen was all over the place. So I'll put him at a 7.8.
yeah,
Harsh probably, but he's getting old. His
Yeah.
time is coming to close.
yeah. I kind of I don't know. Raikkonen is that enigma type of driver. You don't really know what to expect. He's really I don't know how to explain it. Random at some places. He's just there,
Yeah.
and then for the next 4 races, he's just nowhere.
He's gone.
And
Yeah.
I think one of the best moments of the season has to be his win at USA. I think that was one of his best drives I've seen in the last 5 years, and I think it was phenomenal.
Oh yeah, definitely. He put on a stellar drive. I think he definitely deserved it.
Yeah, and the crowd went wild. I went wild at home, and
Everyone was.
I couldn't keep my emotions in. I think he was really good at the end of the season compared to Vettel. I just
Yeah,
wish he had the pace at the beginning of the season. I think he would have been a
yeah, it was
better
nice to
title
see
contender.
today. Yeah.
Yeah, but
I have some
yeah.
statistics up here of Kimi's season. He got a load of podiums.
Yeah,
Australia,
I think he
China,
got 12. I think he got 12 podiums of the
yeah, loads
for
of
the
podiums.
season. Let me just check. Yeah, he got both him and Vettel got 12 podiums for the season, which actually
So I mean,
good.
he's
Yeah, but
been there, but just being the pet for another driver, that just puts you down so much.
yeah, and if you consider all the mistakes Vettel's made, if they didn't use him as a pet, I think he would have been ahead of
Yeah,
Vettel
exactly.
this season. I
Yeah,
mean,
probably.
okay, but looking at qualifying head to head, I think Vettel is a bit way
Outperformed
ahead.
him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's almost whitewashed him. 17 to 4. Just looking at Bottas and Hamilton, it was 15 to 6 for Hamilton, and you can't have that in a team. You need close
No.
combat in a team. Just
Yeah.
a quick fight.
You
You
need to
can't
go
have
back
that.
and forward with pole position and leading the
Yeah,
team.
yeah, that's true. And I think that's what the next team didn't have, and that is Red Bull.
Red Bull.
They
Oof.
didn't. I that this was just a bad season. They had 4 wins, but it was a mixed season
Which is,
with
I think,
retirements for the one driver, and the other driver just messed up the first half of his season.
yeah, it's just all over the place. I think for Red Bull have had 4 wins with 2 apiece since 2016, if
Yeah.
I'm not mistaken.
No.
Which is, I
Wait.
mean, it's an odd record to have, but I mean, that's what you get when you're a Red Bull.
Yeah, but I think Red Bull could have done more this season, considering the car they had. If for instance Max didn't crash into Vettel at China, I think he would have got
Yeah.
Red Bull would have had a 1-2 there. Um, the Baku incident.
Oh, easily. Oh, that is what made me hate Max Verstappen as a person, as a driver, as a sportsman. It's just,
Yeah,
yeah, it's just
yeah,
rough.
yeah. I stick with the same point of view. I think it was Verstappen's fault. I think he moved what 3 times, and one of them was
Okay,
on the point of braking. You can't move on the point of braking. You can't move in that bracket.
we can go on for hours on this debate of Max Verstappen being an idiot, but I want to spark controversy anyway, so I'll just be there.
Yeah. Red Bull, just a normal Red Bull season in the hybrid era. Just
Yeah,
getting into the
standard.
top three, not really contending Ferrari or Mercedes. Um,
Yeah.
the drivers, let's start with the one that ended on top in terms of points, Max Verstappen. What do you think about his
Yeah,
season?
terrible. No, it's not just because I'm trying to be as neutral as possible, which is very difficult with this fucking kid. But anyways, the start of the season, everyone saw it. It was rough. He was just in every way, in places he shouldn't have been.
Yeah,
China, big error. Just not just with Vettel, which was the shining error,
yeah,
but with his move on Hamilton, I think it was, through
yeah,
the S's after turn 4, where he
yeah,
just went off and rejoined like a madman. That was a big old
yeah,
mistake, which was unnecessary. And obviously Baku, his moments, yeah, he has some rough drives. Probably being inexperienced, being a kid in a big car.
yeah,
Yeah, and then his second half of the season, he really picked up the pace as he should have. So Yeah, he goes both ways. He's a good driver, an inexperienced driver, a bad driver, but has his moments. So yeah, he goes all over the place.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. If you consider his entire career at Red Bull so far, he had his big moments. If you look at 2016
Yeah.
in the rain at Brazil, he had a great drive. He's been doing these small things, but these small things can't always win you championships. You need to do it the entire season, not just one half or just a quarter of the season. You need to pick up the pace at the first race, keep the pace going, and let the others fall behind as you're keeping up with the pace.
Yeah. This doesn't mean you have to win every single race. You just need to be consistent.
Yeah, that's true.
Keep up the points.
And I just think if you look at these, I think something that really irritated me about him was Mexico after qualifying, when he finished second.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
When he hit the second place board, I was just like, man, just grow up. You can't get them all.
You got second place. You're on the front row. How can you be disappointed with that? It makes no sense to me.
Yeah, I understand he wants to be the youngest. I understand he wanted to be the youngest ever pole sitter, but just because someone else did it doesn't mean you're gonna do it. You can't always expect everything. And
yeah, you can't win them all. It's not possible.
Yeah, that's true. You can't break every record, and that's just how Formula One works.
It's just the way the cookie crumbles.
Yeah, and he did drive well in Mexico. Great win, and then another win that was thrown away from him. That absolutely. I think it was like, how can you say it? The win was absolutely crashed out of his sight. That win just went away when Ocon tapped him on the rear in Brazil.
I completely forgot. That must have been a rough one to swallow. I mean, the Ocon Verstappen Brazil thing, I don't even want to get into it, but yes, he was robbed of a victory. Was it necessarily Ocon's fault?
I
Probably,
think...
but then again, I mean, you can see it the way you see it. I'm just...
to me, it's more of a 60-40% fault. If you look at the crash that Verstappen had, it's almost the same as the one that Hulkenberg had with... Grosjean at the end of the season. You just don't expect him to be there. You like Hulkenberg said about Hulkenberg said about Grosjean. He thought Grosjean went off the track, cutting the corner, and it was too late by the time the crash happened. He said he didn't expect him to be there. But in my point of view, I feel like Ocon shouldn't have been in the situation where he was halfway alongside.
He is allowed to unlap himself, but just that at that point, in that point of the race, at the corner, it was just made to crash. There was no other way it was going to come out.
Yeah, and if you look at it, it wasn't a crash like he was alongside Verstappen. He was actually not even halfway alongside Verstappen. So Verstappen had all the right to close the door. If you look at the normal race,
shunted it down the inside. I think apparently they had a big rivalry back in the Formula 2 or 3 days.
I think it was
between the two of them.
Yeah, I think it was Formula 3, GP3 as they used to know it.
So their rivalry has come a long way, and I mean it's just when you are in equal terms at one point and then you're just so far off the person at another, like from GP3 to Formula 1, just being at Force India and then a Red Bull, there's just no way you're going to contend with him. So I mean the frustration of being the slower car as a definite World Championship driver someday, it's got to be a hard one to swallow. So I mean I think there's a bit of bite between the two of them.
Yeah. And then moving on to Ricardo, just heartbreak. That's all. That I can't say anything else.
Yeah.
It's just heartbreak. How can you go with 8 retirements in one season? So he
How many
only
retirements did
finished. He had 8 retirements of the 21 races
No,
that I had.
how many retirements did he have in the first half of the season? One?
No,
Or
I,
two?
I think it was 2. I think one was an engine and the
'Cause it
other
was
one was the crash with
Bahrain.
Verstappen. The crash
Yeah,
with
Bahrain
Verstappen
and Baku.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then 6
So
in the
going
second
from
half.
2 retirements to 6 is just stupid. I don't want to say it. But I think there has been some fiffling with the car in the paddock. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I can't see
I don't-
one engine blowing up 6 times. You
Just
How?
consistently. Yeah. It's just
I
nothing.
think
It doesn't make
one of the
sense.
moments my heart sank was in USA when Daniel Ricciardo was 9 laps in. He was in 4th place. He was chasing down 3rd place, and just all of a sudden his car just switched off.
Just stopped. That was just my heart just sank and it sank to the bottom. Never came back.
And I think it was Mexico. Did he also retire?
Oh,
I
yeah.
think it was
From
close
pole
to the end.
position.
I think it was
Yeah.
close to the end of the race when he retired. Man, I
Yeah.
can't see it. It's just mind-baffling.
It's just no way. It makes no sense.
And
And he's such a great driver. His moves in China were phenomenal. Best drive, probably my favorite race of the season by far. Just seeing overtake after overtake.
yeah, and
It was phenomenal.
if you look at Monaco when he had to drive with, I think it was one less gear than the others. When
Yeah,
he
it's
shorted the gear, I just can't remember which one it was. He had to
he,
drive
he
with
has
one
the
gear less.
potential. He has the potential to be a extremely big Formula One driver, World Championship. It's just to have it thrown away by your team and your car. It's got to be such a rough one to swallow.
Yeah, and then one of the best moments of his season, I think, was the bang at Baku. I'm just kidding. It has to be the pole position at Mexico. What a lap! He just went
I
in.
think so. Yeah, I think the best moment for him was Redemption Day at Monaco,
Yeah, that's also
because that
true.
just pole position to the win. Just
Yeah, but if you
that's
look
how
at
you want it to be.
if you look at Monaco, great drive all round. It has to be his best
Yeah.
weekend. But if you look at Mexico, he was like what 7/10 off of
Yeah.
Verstappen the whole weekend,
Verstappen.
and just all of a sudden, just taking pole position. How did he do it? I just my
He's
mind was
just
blown
that
at that
good of a
moment.
driver.
Yeah, being your
mean,
favorite
yeah.
driver.
No, there's no bias going on at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think
He
this.
was definitely. He's a proper Red Bull driver, having his moments in the season,
Yeah,
but he's consistent in a way, but also just his engine issues, unreliability, and
I think the big thing with him is where he slipped a bit in this last few years was qualifying. If you remember, 2014 out-qualified Vettel, 2015 out-qualified
Yeah.
Kvyat, 2016 out-qualified Verstappen, and now these last 2 seasons he's just been falling behind. He needs to pick up his qualifying pace to be in the race. You can't just think I'm gonna maybe start 6th and I'll get a podium. You can't always do that.
just
considering
race your way to the France.
yeah, in considering the cars that are ahead already, you can't do it. And
Yeah.
driver ratings, if you look at them.
Daniel, let's start with Max Verstappen. Good driver, inconsistent driver. I mean, yeah, I'll give him a 7.8. It's a low rating for a good driver, but just from the start of the season to end of the season, I'm looking at it all. So I
Yeah.
think a 7.8 is a
Yeah, I was gonna give him an 8, considering the fact that he's
yeah,
made too many mistakes in the beginning of the season and the end of the season. He's been just when he started getting on a roll, I didn't like his attitude, but yeah,
yeah,
taking that aside, he did make a few qualifying mistakes at the end of the season where he could have taken pole position.
yeah.
Yeah, it's just an 8. Great races a few times, but yeah. And Ricardo,
Yeah. Well, I
considering
mean,
the
is there
races he
anywhere
did,
else you can? Yeah, is there anywhere else you can go other than a square just flush 10 out of 10 rating? He's
nah,
just that good.
nah, nah. I
No.
think you're on
Okay.
drugs. To me,
No.
I think I'm also gonna give him an 8, considering the fact that he had 2 wins. He was quite good in the beginning of the season. At the end of the season, I couldn't really rate him, considering the fact that
Yeah,
he
yeah.
retired 6 times. So yeah, it's another 8 from me. You?
I think I would give him an 8.5 just because we couldn't see what he could do with the car at the second half of the season.
Yeah.
Just there's no way in rating it. And the times he had a good car, like Mexico's qualifying, Brazil as well, where the Red Bulls were way quicker. It's
Yeah.
just he has a good drive, but then yeah, it's a tough one to judge. But I think an 8.5 would be a solid rating.
I think if I had to rate his patience with Red Bull this season, I think I would have given him I would have given him a 20 out of 10. I can't see it any other
It
way.
has to be.
I would have
I
lost
don't see.
everything.
I don't know why he should have left just mid-race. Just park the car up and left. Never came back. Next season, come back, jump in a Renault, and be the world champion.
Yeah, hopefully. Then, yeah, that's it for our first video. Oh, wait, before we go, if you had to rate every team, Ferrari, Mercedes, and Red Bull so far on their season that they had, what's your ratings?
I would give Ferrari probably the better rating, just because they weren't so blunt with the whole rear gunner driver thing, and they were the stronger team for me.
Yeah.
So Ferrari, I'll give a 9
Yeah.
out of 10. Mercedes, I'll give them an 8.7
Yeah,
because they were right on them, and then Red Bull probably a 8,
yeah.
just because they're just that average.
If I look at Mercedes, I'm gonna give them the highest rating, considering they didn't make too many
Okay.
strategy mistakes on or any call at the moment. I think they were
Yeah.
a good all-round team, but they haven't been able to wow me like they did in 2014 when they ran away with everything. It was just race
Yeah.
after race after race. I think I'm gonna give them a 9.1.
Okay.
Then
Fair.
Ferrari, I'm gonna give a solid 8.6. Too many mistakes from them. I think they could have done better.
Yeah.
And Red Bull, I think I'm gonna give it an 8.5 maybe.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
they did have a few good calls. If you look at the season, they've been
Yeah.
able to do stuff right that I think other teams didn't, and considering the fact that they've been able to get their car to work with tires better than the other cars, great strategy
Yeah.
calls, everything. I think they were really good. And that's it for our video. Gerard, thanks for being on the what can we call this? What can we call? We need to give this videos a name.
The yearly Formula One review. I don't know. Just go to the moon with it.
Yeah, I'll just put something in the description. Thanks for being here. I really enjoyed it. You were a great host or someone to have on the show. Considering you will be a regular. Thanks for being
Yeah,
here.
that's what I like to hear.
I'll leave your link in the description. Pads Bear, everyone. Thanks for watching. Hit a like, subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Share it. I really wanted 100 subscribers by the end of June. Please, guys, I think we can grow this channel bigger than anyone. Thanks a lot. Have a great day.
Invincible.